So, should we start? Is everybody there?
I think everyone's there.
Yeah. Okay. So, good afternoon to all of you, and welcome for today's panel discussion on the key compliance management challenges and how to overcome it. I would like to share that TeamLease and their group companies are hosting a series of webinars today on the underlying theme, Unemployed India is not a free India. The event is an effort on our part to look at the possibilities of businesses coming together and advancing India towards a $10 trillion economy. Friends, I'm Prashant Singh, and I take care of compliance and payroll outsourcing business for TeamLease. I'm going to be the moderator for today's discussion. A very warm welcome to all of you for this part of the session. Why India organizations grapple with non-compliance? What are the key reasons for poor compliance? How do we overcome them? What role do digitization, simplification, and rationalization will play in future? So these are certain questions which we are going to ask with the panelists. Our today's discussion would revolve around all of them, and we'll have 35 minutes for it, followed with 10 minutes of question answer session. We have with us 4 subject matter experts, industry specialists from various sectors who would share their thoughts and advice on the subject. The first panelist is Mr. Rishi Agarwal. He is the CEO and co-founder of Avantis RegTech Private Limited. He is a senior technology professional with extensive experience of 20 years in application development, delivery, global infrastructure and services, and data center. He is an MBA degree from Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, and a BTech from IIT Varanasi. He also has completed an advanced leadership development program at the Wharton School of Business. He had been heading India operations for BNY New York Mellon for 13 years before starting his own venture, Avantis RegTech, along with his partner Sandeep Agarwal. He is an avid photographer and traveler. We have our second panelist, Dr. Ankita Singh. She is the Senior Vice President and Global Head of HR at Cygnus Datamatics. She has over 19 years of experience across high-paced business domains of ITS. Ankita holds a PhD in management and is a gold medalist in BBA as well as MBA. She has done HR and business strategic related executive management program from IIM Ahmedabad, ISB Hyderabad, and XLRI. She has around 57 awards to her name. To name a few, Women Personality of the Year 2019 and 2018 by Femina, Business Person of the Year 2020, Indian Businesswoman of the Year 2019, Indian HR Champion of the Year 2019, and Women Leader of the Year 2019, and many more. Our third panelist is Ashma Marwa. Ashma Marwa carries 19 years of experience and currently heads the secretarial, legal, and compliance at housing.com, proptiger.com, and makan.com. She has been associated with PropTiger Group since Feb 2015. She specializes in due diligence, fundraising, investors reporting, compliance, litigation, state compliance, etc. She has worked for organizations like BPTP Limited, DLF Pramerica Life Insurance in the past. She is a certified company secretary professional from ICSI India. Our last panelist is Kanika Bhattacharya. Kanika carries a varied experience in organizations of repute across the spectrum of corporate governance and compliance. She has been a part of Adobe India in India for the last 6 years and has been instrumental in handling diverse and challenging assignment as the Chief Compliance Officer and Company Secretary. She ensures regulatory and compliance obligation of the Indian entity. She also assists other foreign subsidiaries of Adobe Inc. in their corporate compliance requirement. Prior to joining Adobe, she has worked with ILFS as the company secretary, along with few other names like Rapid Metro, Soma Enterprise Limited, and Olam International. I welcome them all once again. So with that, we start our session. Our first question to Ms. Kanika Bhattacharya. Kanika, what are the key compliance challenges in your organization?
Hi, thank you, Prashant, for the swift introduction. I'll quickly start with the first question. So I'm sure you all will agree when it comes to compliance, we face same kind of risk and challenges, and I'll list out some of them. So the primary challenge I see is the complex legal environment that we have. We have outdated laws. We are not clear what our regulations say. The authorities are not that cooperative. So this is something that is external and it is inherent in our system. The second thing I'll say is the compliance function is a siloed function and is disconnected. So when I say siloed, it means like whenever there is a trigger event, we start working. So we have a notice from the environment regulator, and then we start realizing who is the concerned person, and everyone in this way confines to their own roles and responsibilities, and everyone is disconnected. This is a real challenge in ensuring compliance. The third thing is lack of awareness. Like in India, no one is really aware that how critical compliance is. They don't understand the gravity. Neither our management nor employees nor our parent companies, they really don't know like what are the consequences of non-compliance.
Kanika, I think we are losing you. Some signal problem.
Like, have, like,
I think, Kanika, some network issue from your end. We are not able to hear you.
and the last thing that I want to, yeah.
Right. So, Kanika, I think we'll come back to you. I think there's some network issue. Let's understand this question from Dr. Ankita Singh. Ankita, what is your view on this?
Thanks, Prashant. I think Kanika was rightly pointing out the things as in we face as the current challenges. But I can see a lot of people from different companies have joined. So I will talk more in general terms. So when we look at being compliant for any company, I think there are a lot of challenges because these policies, these regulations, they either keep changing, they keep evolving, or even the existing ones, they keep developing with time. And with rapid digital transformation, it has probably the pace has gone to the next level, and it is becoming more challenging for everybody, be it IT sector, be it any sector or organization. Everybody is finding it difficult to maintain the pace with the changing rules and norms. If at all, I talk about a couple of companies, I think we don't take it as a project. We do not plan things around it really well. When we have experts from the team, probably the check, which should be well defined, we still aren't there. Obviously, compliance centric organizations would do it, but most of the companies, they lack in this field. The processes are not adaptable. When I say processes are not adaptable, we still don't know where are the changes and are those changes reaching us on time.
Okay.
There's a big gap, and people aren't moving with the time. The technology need definitely changes. The experts are needed who can take care of that particular thing, because everything is getting upgraded with the time. And the organizations, they have not still got into the habit of moving with the time. And the last process difficulty, which I would say, which everybody is probably following, we get into something, but we do not revisit and reframe it as per the need of the time. So keeping a check, it is missing until unless we get a notice or a message from some statutory compliant vendor or third party where we have tied up, and we get to hear from them that this is what the change is required. So yeah, these are the few things.
Right, Ankita. So I have made a note that recheck and revisit is something which is missing as of now from your side. Let's hear from Ashma. Ashma, what is your thought on this? Let's hear from you.
Prashant, I have worked for compliances from last 19 years and so, and I have seen a dramatic changes in drastic changes in terms of how the corporates were complying with all these compliances before, and now how the management is changing their mindset and taking compliance as a very serious thing. So 10 years down the line, the management was only interested in complying with only the mandatory compliances, which are very much crucial for the businesses. Otherwise, for regular compliances, they were not very concerned. But now, from last 2, 3, 4 years, management is investing a lot of time, money, and effort into understanding what our compliances are there, how we can have a strengthened compliance system, how that can be automated to ensure that we are complying with all the statutes. As Ankita and Kanika has rightly mentioned, that there is lot of statute in India, and it is very difficult to manage everything by a single company. And since the industry-wise compliances are very much different, that's why it is all the more important to understand what all are the compliances which are applicable to your company, how you can have a automated system to monitor all those compliances, because nowadays the management, the board, the shareholders are not accepting any non-compliances. And in this time when we have a lot of FDIs coming in, the foreign shareholders does not allow their company to be non-compliant, and that is a big reputational issue for any company.
Okay.
They will not get any FDI or any such things if they are not compliant with the laws of the land, and they were not seen as a good compliant company. And therefore the companies are taking all the care to ensure that they are compliant. And also, due to this fact that now the professional bodies are also very stagnant in terms of making regulations for their professionals, whether it's CA, CS, to ensure that whatever professionals are working for a particular company, they are also made accountable in case of any non-compliances. Apart from the Companies Act, wherein directors are also made accountable.
Yeah.
Therefore, things are improving, but it will take some time to change the entire mindset. Some of the
Right.
good companies have started doing it, but there is a long way to go.
So Ashma, I think management time, awareness, and automation are the few things which I picked up from your conversation. Let's hear from Rishi. I mean, Rishi, we have seen that he sits on the other side of the table, where he services more than 1,000 clients across India. So Rishi, what is your experience about it? Would you like to chat about this?
Sure, Prashant. So I think we've heard a lot of very interesting points. You rightly pointed out that I'm on the other side. We talk to a few thousand CXOs, particularly compliance professionals every year. And there are some common themes that we come across when it comes to compliance challenges in India. The first one, which I think everyone has spoken about, is compliance management in India is complex. It needs time and resources. Just to give some numbers here, India has a basket of 1,536 acts, 69,233 compliances, and 6,618 filings. So although all of these are not applicable to a single business, but as you move from a single entity, single business, single location organization to a multi-business, multi-entity, multi-locational organization, the number of compliances that are applicable to your business exponentially multiplies. So just to put the numbers in perspective here, a mid-sized organization with about 5 to 6 factory operations in the country today deals with about 5,000 odd compliances in a year. So the number of returns, registers, challans, licenses, registrations, permissions, consent orders, displays, payments, remittances, notices. If you put all of these together, it is not humanly possible to track and manage the life cycle of all these compliances. There's a lot of ambiguity in there. Dates keep changing and so on in an ad hoc, manual, paper-based and people-dependent compliance program. So this is, Prashant, challenge number one.
Right.
Challenge number two here is compliance ecosystem in India is very, very fluid and dynamic. The law of the land changes 3,000 times a year. Just in 2019, there were over 3,000 regulatory changes. Just in COVID times, there have been over 700 regulatory changes from March 25th. So that's a second large challenge. You're dealing with a situation where you are in a plane and somebody is tinkering with the engine of the flight constantly. And these are two broad challenges that we see compliance officers and practitioners face in the industry today.
Okay. So Rishi, I mean, I think you very well said. So I had made a note of a couple of challenges and it looks like, yes, this is pretty complex. Let's understand what are the initiatives and efforts, all of you are taking in terms of, fighting these challenges. So let's hear from Dr. Ankita. What are the initiatives and efforts which you and your organizations have taken to take it up?
Yeah, so Prashant, as Rishi, Kanika, Ashma, everybody mentioned that the challenges are there, and I think it won't stop because practically things are going to get more complicated because of technology enhancement, and at the same time, more policies and regulations flowing in. So I think we go by 5 steps, where first one is a very strong foundation where we have included basics. Second is, which I have mentioned in the previous point as well, you need to plan, make it a priority, take it as any other task where you have the team set. Third is culture, where I think Ashma also mentioned the leadership team has to understand where we are headed, what we want to do. So, the compliance aware business culture has to be formed. Then I would say build adaptable processes, keep your people technology ready for the changes and at the pace that things are changing. And the fifth one is keep a check. Whatever you are doing, because things are evolving and changing at a very fast pace, just be right there, be adaptable, centric, be there to change at the right time with the need of the hour. So I think these are the 5 pointers I would say.
Thank you, Ankita. Let's hear from Kanika. Kanika, are you there? Are you able to hear us?
I can hear you. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, it's much better. Please.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is identifying that what all compliance we need to ensure. So most of the times I've seen organizations and people are not aware what we really need to do. So the first step is identifying. Once you're able to identify the steps, then I think you should make all your your management, your board and everyone aware of it. You should make compliance as the integral function of your organization. So nowadays we have technology, we have digitalization, but everyone is using it towards achieving other objectives like revenue generation, growth, customer satisfaction. So compliance is not a priority for any one of us. So that is what we have seen. So we need to make them aware. Then once we are aware, we really need to have a robust internal mechanism. We should have a proper database, which should be used as a ready reckoner. So it should not be we are having an inspection or somebody is asking and then at the time we are running here and there. So the compliance framework should be really stringent, and we have taken all the steps to make everyone aware that this is not an option. Like if we are an employee, if we are working, then we have to be compliant. And then the other thing that Ankita and Ashma and Rishi has rightly said, it should be top driven. Like I cannot do it. Like I'm the chief compliance officer, but I really need to make sure that our management, our board are communicating with all the employees. Everyone is aware, and that is how it works. So in our family also, when we see our elders are happy, we are happy. So whatever they are doing, we follow. So it should be top driven. And then the most important thing is doing our job rightly, Rishi and Prashant. So we really need to make sure we are updated with the laws, the amendments, and we are helping our organization and the people to know that how critical compliance is.
Okay. Right, Kanika. Let's hear from Ashma. Ashma, anything which you would like to add here?
No, I think most of the things are already being captured because mindset, taking note of what is applicable to that company, have a broad framework wherein there is an automated process wherein we can track all these compliances, because manually it is very difficult to track, and the compliance person perspective to ensure that they are complying. If there is an automated system but the compliance person is not very serious and he's missing something out, then obviously everything will not be so successful. That's why it is a combination of every thing around this to ensure that the companies are compliant.
All right, Ashma. So Rishi, a question to you, since you already, meet so many people across industries, what as per you are the 2 initiatives taken by most of the organization today? What comes in your mind immediately?
So I think, Prashant, interesting question. One of the top initiatives that I see is, unlike what used to happen about 5 to 7 years ago, the Companies Act of 2013 and all the changes around corporate governance, risk management and compliance. And I think Ashma spoke about FDI being one of the key driver for driving compliance behavior in Indian organizations. So one clear thing that is happening is tone at the top is changing. chalta hai, hota hai, dekh lenge, manage kar lenge, is not a dominant tone at the top that we see in most organizations. That's part one. That's a fundamental change, and I think that's a very welcome step in Indian corporate governance, risk management, and compliance. The second thing that we are seeing is companies want to do the right thing. It's not like they want to stay non-compliant. Everybody wants to comply. However, the challenge is, while, and I think we heard this from Ashma earlier, that investments have gone into building technology for business processes, for revenues, for CRM systems, and so on. However, the compliance officer still continues to operate in the 19th and 20th century tools. They operate in an ad hoc, manual, paper-based, and people-dependent program. They don't really have the tools and techniques. So while the board holds them accountable, while the company law has brought in provisions for criminal proceedings and jail term, but in reality, they really don't have transparent, accountable, and traceable systems to ensure compliance. So there is an increased focus on digitization, in spite of the fact that only under 10% of the 70,000 odd organizations in India, they actually have taken on such bold steps to go digital. But we are seeing that trend. Increasingly, organizations are saying we really need to comply, and we need systems, processes, and technology systems to help us comply. Now, until you have these technology systems, Prashant, no amount of throwing warm bodies at problems is going to help. The traditional way is throw some more warm bodies at it and see if you can manage compliance. But when you're dealing with a few thousand compliance, just to let you know, state of Karnataka today has over 900 minimum wages, right? And if you just operate in a state of Karnataka, you're dealing with a lot of these regulations, and this is only one of the many, right? A simple small MSME deals with 364 compliances in India. So in absence of digitization, your ability to stay on top of all of these compliance is really not there.
Sure. Right, Rishi. I think very rightly said. So what we'll do, we'll change the question to Indian context now. I mean, we heard about what organizations are grappling through. Let's understand that what is the role of compliance in current Indian business context. So let's hear from Ashma. What do you see on a larger piece?
Compliance is nowadays very important for every organization. Management is also taking it seriously, as everyone has rightly said. Government is also taking a lot of initiatives to club a lot of statute into one. Like we are coming up with a wage code and all these compliances, because Rishi has rightly told, there is a lot of compliances, lot of statute law which are there in an Indian companies, depending upon the industry in which they are operating. That's why it is very difficult, and these all acts are very old acts.
Right.
Government is taking some of the initiative to change. They have come up with the RERA Act. They have come up with GST. They are making these labor compliances also under one single umbrella. That is actually the need of the hour, and government is also taking some initiative. And apart from that, there are a lot of automated compliance partner are coming up with all these automated compliance tool, which will enable us to keep a track of these compliances which are applicable, and we can also ensure that we comply with all these compliances within the timelines or any extended timelines as per the revised circular. So that is India is going towards a more compliant atmosphere, but like I have previously told, government has to do more efforts in terms of these regulations and making the law simplified, because right now the laws are not simplified. And every time a law is being created, the people find a lot of loopholes into that law.
Correct.
While at the same time, the statutory authorities are also become very active nowadays. We don't see any PF inspection or any such inspection happened 5 to 6 years for any company. Right now they are happening on a regular basis. All the notices, income tax are doing automation process due to all these compliances, and this is a good thing which is happening.
Thanks, Ashma. Let's hear from Ankita. Ankita, what do you have to say on this?
Prashant, I think very rightly said by Ashma, everybody is doing their bit, be it government, be it organizations, or the key team members of the organization. The thing is, awareness is already there, policies, regulations are there. One thing where we need some more push is intent to change, intent to adapt. We have to find the right fit for ourselves, and at the same time we have to see what all we are eligible for, what all we should definitely go in for. We cannot skip this. The intention, the positive intention that yes, I have to be compliant enough to meet the need of the system is not there. People still take it very lightly. They still wait for the last day to even initiate. I think that is one change which I expect in India. But otherwise, as Ashma beautifully mentioned, be it government or management or the system, everybody is already doing their part. They have changed it to the best possible level, even though it is going in phased manner, but it's quite evident. So
Right.
intent is one thing which I think will change the aspect of India.
Right, Kanika. Let's hear from Kanika. Kanika, anything you would like to add here?
Yeah, so I echo the thoughts of Ankita and Ashma. And two things I would want to add over here is we all need to understand that compliance touches all the facets of our life. So whenever we are talking about the organization, starting from its like incorporation to getting all the registrations and all, we really need to be compliant. And the other thing, the world today is connected. Like we have all digitalization, fantastic technology and stuff. So we really need to understand, we should have that intent, as Ankita has rightly highlighted, that we will not be able to escape. So this is a time wherein people want no prisoners.
Right.
They don't
So,
want people who are, yeah.
so Kanika, you touched upon a very good point, which is digitizing compliance. I think let's hear from Rishi also about it. And possibly, Rishi, if you can, talk about digitizing compliance piece, I think that will be great. Yeah, Rishi.
Sure, Prashant. So, when we deal with a few thousand compliances in a year, you're dealing with about 4 filings a day. You're dealing with about 10 to 15 compliances a day. These compliances are at 3 levels, Prashant: central, state, and local. You're dealing with 6 categories of compliances: labor, which includes all your labor laws; finance and taxation deals with all your direct taxes, indirect taxes, customs, FERA, FEMA, EXIM, and so on; commercial, that deals with all the equipment, Lift Act, Electricity Act, Bureau of Indian Standards, legal metrology, and so on. Then you have EHS, which is Environment, Health and Safety, deals with all your pollution control boards, central and state. It deals with Environment Protection Act, solid waste management, hazardous waste management. Then you're dealing with industry specific. I heard someone talk about industry specific regulations, which can change from one industry to another. So you can see that there is a very wide diversity in the kind of compliances that you're dealing with. These compliances change from state to state. So once you operate in more than one state, you need deep expertise on these 6 or 7 categories of compliances at a state level. A lot of subjects are on the concurrent list of the constitution, and there are items on the state list. All of these add to diversity and ambiguity of interpretation of these compliances. So at an overall level, you're dealing with 3 levels, 6 categories, and 3 types: time-based, event-based, and ongoing compliances. Now, Companies Act holds a company secretary or a compliance officer accountable, saying, please certify that I'm compliant with the law of the land. The first problem is, does the compliance officer even know what are the applicable compliances? I think Kanika mentioned that. The second problem here is, once you have the list, that list keeps changing all the time, right? So there are 3,000 changes in a year. What was applicable and relevant yesterday may not be applicable and relevant today. So you have changes to compliances, change of dates, one-time extensions, changes to forms, changes to interest and penalty calculations, changes to rates and duty calculations. All of these changes are happening. And if there is no reliable technological platform that is sending you all the relevant updates in a personalized manner applicable to your role, it will be like throwing a lot of data to a person and asking them to find a needle in the haystack. And that's where technology helps. All of us are pulled in so many different directions. On a given day, at any given point in time, I'm sure all of you will agree with me that we have 20 priorities on our list and everything was required yesterday. it is but obvious that people are going to miss compliances. So you have a situation where there are missed compliances, there are delayed compliances, you have missed the regulatory update, right? You did the compliance, but it was done based on an incorrect penalty, interest, or rate calculation. And all these things lead to, sins of omission and sins of commission. And in my opinion, technology comes in really handy because technology doesn't have an emotion. Technology is not scared. They will send you a reminder whether you like it or not. They will make sure that you get a alert on your mobile app as and when a compliance is due. Technology will send you the regulatory update that is applicable to you. It doesn't matter what time of the day or evening. So chances are high that once you have technology, you let data tell the story. A dashboard tells you in color coded way how deep into the hole the company is, what could be the financial liability. Now you're letting data tell the story. You're letting risk being visible to you rather than people just saying, yeah, I think we are compliant. And that's an answer that I'm very used to hearing now. Every time I talk to a CXO and I ask them, do you think you're compliant? The funny answer is, yeah, we think we are compliant. And you drill deeper as to why you think you're compliant. And the immediate answer is, we don't have any outstanding notices. So I think we are compliant. And lack of notice, unfortunately, is treated as a proxy for compliance in the country. And I think that's a very unfortunate thing. You're sitting on a ticking time bomb. The day is not too far when you will get one notice because the number of scrutinies have gone up. So I think technology has a very important role to play. We have recognized the importance of technology when we deploy ERPs, SAPs, when we have deployed CRM systems, and we have automated a lot of areas which are very close to our revenue or cost. However, compliance has typically taken a back seat. People have not started thinking about digitization, and it's high time that the organization comes together. Boardroom recognizes that one bad incident can put them on the front page of an Economic Times or Mint for the wrong reasons. Their share price can go tumbling down. The cost of raising debt and equity capital will go up. And on that day, suddenly people realize that, oh, I should have paid attention to this area. So digitization is critical. It needs to get done. And if these conversations don't begin, organizations, in my opinion, are sitting on a ticking time bomb.
Right. Very well said, Rishi. I think, Kanika, you being a company secretary yourself, what are your thoughts towards digitization?
I'll say, Prashant, one of the most critical thing that we all would agree that organizations who have already begun this digital transformation from using the outdated technology to doing a real-time compliance management are already realizing the benefits. And it is critical for us because the regulatory environment is so complex in India. It is not uh, it is not possible for us to track all what we are doing. And then we have a couple of cross functions who are doing their work, and we have to really integrate the entire compliance function. And being the chief compliance officer, we really need to keep track on things what are happening. And I think digitalization plays a very critical role. It makes the entire thing transparent. So as of now, if you see, everyone is doing their own compliance, like finance, taxation, I'm doing, IT is doing, but at the same time, there is no transparency. We don't know what other teams are doing. So this is a basic challenge, and digitalization really helps. Like now we have a dashboard wherein all the relevant stakeholders have access, board is aware, and that is how digitalization is helping. And for a developing country like India, I think the people who are really working on it, like you guys, TeamLease and other companies, I really appreciate all those efforts. So it is making our life easy.
Thank you, Kanika. I think with paucity of time, we may have to switch to the last question. And I would like Dr. Ankita to talk about, a slight different subject which we have been, coming across, that what are the current notification of various codes and what are their upcoming challenges? So over to you, Dr. Ankita, for this question.
So, see, the upcoming challenges, Prashant, it would remain almost same what Rishi, Kanika, they have been talking about. But there are few things which I would say they are not going anywhere. It's like, the ever-changing demand, which is reflected so much. Then data protection and governance, if it all we talk about, then probably the pace at which it is changing, or the geopolitical changes, or the compliance agility. So I mean, the list is never ending. But if at all I have to just talk about a couple of them, then probably these are the few things where we have.
Dr. Ankita, are you there? I think.
Prashant, we may have lost her.
Okay, so Rishi, would you like to continue on what she was talking about? Would you like to add to the topic?
Sure. So Prashant, I think your question was around the codes, the 4 codes that are being brought in. This is something that the National Commission of Labor had recommended back in 2002, and I'm glad the current dispensation has taken it up seriously. There are 4 codes in which about 40 labor laws are going to get condensed. These are called the Code of Wages, Code on Wages, which includes 4 acts: minimum wages, payment of wages, a payment of bonus, and Equal Remuneration Act. And similarly, there are other codes: code on industrial relations, code on social security and safety, and so on, and so on. So this is a welcome step. It's high time that we rationalize our regulatory environment. Today, just in labor between center and states, you're dealing with 463 labor laws. Prashant, there are definitions of wages in 9 different acts. So 9 different acts define wages today. There are multiple muster rolls, attendance registers, leave and overtime registers that are required to be maintained under different acts. There are at least 4 different accident registers required in 5 different acts. So bottom line here is that there is a lot of redundancy and duplication that has happened over the years, and being on the concurrent list of the Constitution adds to this woes. There are 2,700 different formats of returns and registers, Prashant, under labor laws that we have in the country. We have a great opportunity in the codes right now that are being implemented to bring these 2,700 down to almost 100. So we have an opportunity of reducing 2,600 redundant registers and returns that are currently there in the labor laws. Now, if we are able to do that, Prashant, there is a humongous opportunity for rationalization, simplification, and correspondingly digitization. So it's a great opportunity. It's a welcome step. And I really think that if government does a fine job of implementing it, the compliance burden, particularly in labor laws, can come down dramatically. I think we have Dr. Ankita back with us.
Right. So, Dr. Ankita, a minute with you. If you can just complete your statement. Dr. Ankita, are you able to hear me?
I think we lost her again.
No problem. So, Ashma, would you like to add? We have a minute, and then we'll get into a question answer session as we have, a limited time with us.
So I think they have rightly taken this, that the government is taking all initiative to bring simplified laws, because all these laws are very old and they are working together to complete it phase wise. So I think that's a good thing which the government is taking initiatives, and due to which we would have a better compliance structure in India, and that is very much important for a country which is in the developing stage.
Okay, fine. Kanika, anything which you would like to add here, or we'll move to the question answer? We have just 5 minutes left with us, and we have some couple of questions. So would you like to add some points to this?
So I'll just say that it is a much awaited labor reform. We really wanted it, and most of the laws and regulations were enacted pre-independence. So it was much awaited, and I appreciate this initiative of government. So we can move on to the question and answer.
Sure. I think so. I've made a note of a couple of questions which have been asked by the audience. The first question is, possibly Rishi, you would like to answer this question. The best software to suggest compliance and highlight the non-compliance. Do we have that software currently, in the market?
So there is a
Rishi.
conflict of interest here, Prashant. I run a company which is a regulatory technology company. We have created one of the best softwares, for doing this. So Avacom is the software. You can visit avantis.co.in for all the details.
That's right. So, of course, and that's why I wanted to ask this question to you. Next question is, any government portal or platform which helps to solve the queries of compliance as of now?
So the answer to this question, Prashant, is a very complex one. There are 2,233 websites on which state, center, and local governments, they publish changes and laws and so on and so forth. So there is no one department or one ministry which can give you answers to your questions. There are 2,233 websites to be very precise, because we crawl through these websites every day in order to gather regulatory updates. So that answer is, there is no one single platform. Direct tax and indirect tax have introduced straight through filings. Most of the other departments, they have gone to some level of digitization. They have given you portals, but a vast majority don't even have portals. There is a manual approach to compliance filing.
Right. Thank you, Rishi. The third question which has come is, what are the importance of compliance in COVID time? I think Kanika and Ashma, you should pick up this question. Kanika?
Yeah. So I think this is a very relevant question and it is very critical. So I, being the chief compliance officer, and when we were getting so many guidelines on our lockdown, like it was like on us to really comply with it, because our employees were coming up to us, they wanted to collect something, and I cannot really say there was one law. There were so many regulations that were coming in for us. So in COVID times, we really need to make sure that we are compliant. I know things are tough, given like we are not able to connect, we are not able to keep us abreast. And in this situation, the suggestion that I would give to professionals and my friends is, like, try to attend these kind of webinars, the conferences, seminars, to keep us updated. And like, we need to be compliant. So ignorance to law is not an excuse, whether it is pandemic or whether it is normal situation. So we really need to keep things on
Absolutely.
track.
Yeah, Ashma.
I agree with her because this is a very tough time and a very unpredictable time. We are used to doing all these compliances from office through our softwares and everything. And now when everyone is stuck at home facing issues which were not normal, we have employees issue, we have vendors issue, we have deadlines to comply with, we have FDI which are planned and we have to comply with them. So at the same time, it is all important for us to comply. Government has given some relaxation in terms of extension of the deadlines and so and so forth. But at the same point of time, we tried making it. We ensure that we are trying to make all these compliances filings on time, because you never know what can backfire us when all the situation may improve. So we have learned new things, new ways to comply, whether it is automated softwares, whether filing online. Everything was tried and tested at this point of time, and we ensure that we do best possible to be compliant with the law. And since the onus is on the compliance officer, so definitely we have to find a way out.
Right, Ashma. Thank you so much for the answer. I think that takes care of, the importance of compliance during this COVID time. I will move, since we have only 2 minutes now. The next question is, how is Team Leads managing compliance with so diversified businesses? So to answer the question, I would in fact share my thoughts on this, that yes, compliance, if you look at the regulatory cholesterol in India, is pretty big, and Team Leads is completely geared up with a competent set of people across India, with our technology partner Avantis, where we are servicing more than 500 clients from different sectors. I mean, whether it's startup, whether it's new age company, conventionals, any business houses, we are doing a job for them. And it's a completely dedicated business entity which takes care of their end-to-end compliance in terms of product and services. You can visit our compliance, Team Leads compliance website, and have a detailed check, or maybe you can get in touch with us. We'll help you out to answer that. With that, I would like to thank all of you, for giving such a valuable input. And I'm confident that this session would have given a lot of insight and clarity about the current compliance complexity. We would continue such, events, organizing these sessions in future as well. Thank you so much for joining. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay connected. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.